to quick yoga, a half-hour session that you can do when you don't have much time. So find a good sitting position, sit up tall, press down with your sit bones, bring your hands together, turn in, and we'll start with 3 ohms. Exhale, inhale, Om. Inhale, Om. Inhale, Om. Open your eyes, release your hands. Word of the day is dandelion. So the dandelions in this part of the world are beginning to put on their seed heads. And as I was eating my breakfast this morning and looking out my window, I could see a number of birds were sitting on the stem of the dandelion and eating the seeds quite happily. And they're not birds that we see here very often, so that was really nice to see. Dandelions are considered to be a weed, and isn't it interesting what we throw out? Nature places such a value on in the form of birds using the dandelion seed. So in your practice today, what do you dismiss, what do you not count as being very interesting in your practice, or you don't do too much of it? Perhaps you don't pay attention to your breath. Perhaps you ignore the back of you, the back side of you, so your back of your head, the back of your neck. It's not that it's not important, but there's less emphasis on it. So during your practice today, we will be doing a number of back bends and focusing on that other side of you that's always there. And enjoy your practice. And make your way to standing up. Moving into mountain, hands by your side, close your eyes, turn in. We're going to do a number of star jumps, but they're slightly different star jumps from usual. So hands in, hands in, hands out. Yeah. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. 2 more. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Hands in, hands up, feet out, hands in, together. Well done. It can be a little bit of a difficult one to do. Moving into summit, inhale, lift your arms up, hands shoulder width apart, point palms in. Press your feet into the floor, engage your core. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward, come into forward fold. Line up your fingernails with your toenails. Knees slightly bent. Float your hips over your ankles. Allow your head to drop, look back between your legs. Moving into half forward fold, place your hands under your shoulders, lift your head, look up. Knees bent, more doable. Legs straight, more difficult. Choose what suits you. Then come into plank pose, walk your hands forward under your shoulders, walk your feet back, float your shoulders over your wrists, lift your head, look up. Press your heels together. melt your heart. And lower onto your elbows, clasp your hands together, plank on your elbows, keep your core nice and bright. And lower all the way to the floor, coming into Locust. One, arms, hands, backs of your hands on the floor, squeeze your heels together. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Down dog, hands under shoulders, come onto your hands and knees, turn your toes under and lift your hips up. Hands wider than shoulders. Walk your hands to your feet, stand up, come in into mountain, hands by your sides, close your eyes, turn in. Walk to the back of your mat, place your hands on your hips and take a big step forward with your right foot. Bend your front knee, front shin vertical, thigh parallel, lift your back heel off the floor, lift your chest, stretch your spine, squeeze your elbows back and sink down even lower. Press down, stand up and swivel to the back of the mat. Bend your front knee, sink down, lift your back heel up to vertical, lift your chest, stretch your spine, squeeze your elbows back, look up. Press down, stand up, left foot in, right foot out, and turning towards the front of your mat again, coming into power pose, head to knee, feet inner hip width apart, more doable, or feet together, more difficult. Lift your arms out in front, hands shoulder width apart, and invite the head of the armbands to come back into your socket, invite the shoulder blades onto your back, bend your knees, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, sit back in your throne, lift your arms up. Inhale, press down, stand up, moving into crescent, lift your right arm up by your ear, clasp your right biceps with your left hand, move your hips to the right, your torso to the left, be as sideways as possible. Lift your chin, look up, root down equally with both feet into the floor. Inhale, come back to centre and switch to the other arm. Lift your left arm up by your ear, clasp your left biceps, move your hips to the left, your torso to the right, be as sideways as possible. Move your ears back, root down firmly with both feet into the floor. Inhale, come back up to centre, come into mountain once more, hands by your side, close your eyes, turn in. Inhale your arms up overhead, clasp your hands together, interlace your fingers and turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Move your arms into the back plane, brushing your arms off your ears. Root down with your feet into the floor, move your ears back. Inhale and release your arms. And coming into full forward fold again, bend your knees, lower your head, allow your fingernails to line up with your toenails. Make sure the root of your second toe is pointing towards the middle of your ankle. Keeping that, lift your hips up. Inhale, walk your hands forward, lift your head, look up. Turn your sit bones up. Walk your hands forward, walk your feet back and float your shoulders over your wrists, come back into plank. Keep your core nice and bright. This time float forward, bend your elbows and lower down and see if you can float off the floor. And lower gently to the floor. And moving into crocodile. Bend your knees, bring your heels into your hips. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Lift your knees off the floor. Knees together, ankles together. And release and move into down dog. Lift your hips up, hands wide open shoulders. Externally rotate your upper arms. Invite your heels to come towards the floor. Walk your hands back to bring your, come and stand up, coming back into mountain. Press down equally with both corners of your feet, with the four corners of your feet I should say. Move your ears back. Stand tall. Walk to the back of the mat. Moving into warrior one. With hands clasped behind head, interlace your fingers. Take a big step forward with attitude and intention with your right foot. Pivot your back heel so your back foot is on the floor. Line up your front heel so it bisects the arch of your back foot. Lift your chest, stretch your spine, square towards the front of the mat. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Sink down, move your knee, your right knee out in line with the root of your second toe. Lift your head, look up. Press down, stand up and switch to the other end of the mat. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out, bend your front knee, sink down, knee over ankle, square towards the front of the mat. Lift your chest, stretch your spine, move your head back, look up. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Inhale, press down, stand up and step your feet together. Moving back into down dog. Place your hands on the floor, walk your feet back. Externally rotate your upper arms. Lift your hips up. Walk your hands to your feet, coming into power pose, hands band. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace behind your back, interlace your fingers. Place your thumbs on the small of your back, around your sacrum. Bend your knees, round your back, bring it forward to your knees. Lift your arms off your back to vertical or beyond. Sit back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up. Moving into crescent once more, lift your arms overhead, clasp your hands together, interlace your finger, point your index finger, move your hips to the right, your torso to the left, be as sideways as possible. Inhale back to centre and switch to the other side. Inhale back to centre once more. Arms by your side, close your eyes, turn in, observe your breath. Standing tall. Inhale your arms up to summit, stretch your fingers up, root down, move your ears into the back plane, brushing your arms off your ears. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward, come into full forward fold. Line up your fingernails with your toenails, allow your head to drop. Press the heel of your hands into the floor. Begin to stretch the backs of your knees away from you. Walk your hands forward, lift your head, look up. Turn your sit bones up, half forward fold. And then walking forward to plank, hands under shoulders, walk your feet back, float your shoulders over your wrists, lift your head, look up. And lower. And make your way into elevated thunderbolt. Sit back in your heels, turn your toes under, knees together, ankles together. Sitting back, bring your hands together as if in prayer. Lift your head, look up. And make your way into 8 angle. Hands forward, knees back. Lower chest to the floor, chin to the floor. Cobra arms. Your arms are halfway down your rib cage. You point your elbow at the ceiling. Turn your sit bones up, gaze straight ahead. Stretch your legs out behind you. Arms by your sides, turn your palms up. Moving into Locust 2. Squeeze your heels together, your inner shins, your inner thighs. Lift your legs off the floor. Lift your arms up as high as you can. Turn your thumbs up. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Bring your thumbs as close together as you can. And place your hands under your shoulders. Clasp your hands together, tops of your feet on the floor, flare your toes, lift your head, look up. cobra with forearms on the floor. And make your way into, come and sit up, stretch your legs out in front of you, and moving into reverse table. Place your hands under your shoulders, your heels under your knees. Inhale, lift your hips off the floor. Broaden across your collarbones. If you can lift your hips 5 or 10% higher, now's the time to do it. And release to the floor, and moving into pigeon. Come onto your hands and knees, step your right knee forward to the outside of your right wrist, walk your back leg behind you. You can place your hands either side of you on the floor, or you can place your hands on your knee and bring your torso upright as much as possible. Lift your chest, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, press the top of your foot or back foot into the floor, lift your knee, press the outside edge of your front foot into the floor, lift your ankle, look up. And release. And switch to the other side. Right knee back, left knee forward. Bring it towards the outside of your left wrist. Walk your knee back. Press the top of your back foot into the floor. Press down with both hands. Lift your chest, look up. And release. Take this around in front of it so I can see it. Moving into Mookie Lunge. Right foot forward. Heel under knee. And reach back and bend your left knee and bring your heel to your hip and catch your left ankle. You do one hand, or you can take both hands onto your foot, whichever you feel like doing today. Keeping that, lift your chest, stretch your spine, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, and then move your hips forward and down. Bend your elbows, look up. Or you can do it just your left hand on your left ankle and your right hand on your knee. And gently release and switch to the other side. Right foot back, left foot forward, bend your right knee, bring your heel into your hip and clasp your foot. Squeeze your heel towards your hip, then move your hips forward and down. Lift your torso, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, lift your chest, look up. Moving your hips forward and down. And release. And moving into bow pose, come and lie on your belly. Bend your knees. Bring your heels in towards your buttocks and clasp your ankles. Squeeze your knees together and lift your knees off the floor. Invite your knees closer together. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Use your legs to lift the weight of your head and shoulders off the floor. And release. into bridge pose. Come and lie on your back. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips. Running out of time now. Lift your hips off the floor, walk your arms in underneath, clasp your hands together, shrug your shoulders towards each other. Make sure your toes are not pointing out towards the sides of your mat. So line up the root of your second toe with the middle of your ankle. Press down with your heels into the floor, float your hips up even higher. Press your head into the floor. And gently release, lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. And our last back bend, bend your knees. Clasp the big toe of your right foot with the first two fingers of your right hand. And roll over, bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest. And then roll to your right hand side, holding your feet. And then stretch your right leg out in front of you and your back leg out behind you. Make both feet active, then look away from your front foot, your right foot. Invite your knee closer to the floor. And switch to the other side, knees together, and clasp the left toe with the first two fingers of the left hand, and clasp the top of the right foot, roll all the way over onto your left, stretch out your left leg, bend your right knee, bring your heel into your hip, and then endeavouring to keep your shoulders on the floor, look back away from your front foot. Invite your right knee towards the floor. Inhale, come back to centre, and moving into thread the needle. Bend your knees, place your heels on the floor, clasp your right foot, lift your right foot, bring the outside edge of your right foot on top of your left knee. Stay here, more doable, more difficult, bring your knee into your chest, thread your hands between your legs, and press your lower back into the floor. There should be no pressure on your knee in this. And place your feet on the floor and lift your left foot and bring the outside edge of it on top of your right knee. Stay here. Or lift your knee off the floor, bring it in close to your chest, make both feet active. Press your lower back into the floor. And release. Bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest, and gently roll to your left hand side and allow your knees to come to the floor. And then look back behind you towards your right hand. Notice your breathing. Inhale, come back to centre and roll over onto the other side. Bring your knees to the floor and look back behind you. Invite your shoulder blades onto the floor. Inhale, come back to centre and coming into reclined child's pose. Hug your knees into your chest and give yourself the most delicious, loving, caring hug. Feel how good that feels for your back to be massaged. And prepare for relaxation. So you might like to get a blanket and cover yourself in a blanket. You're lying down for 5 minutes. Stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out, hands by your sides, turn your palms up. Take a couple of deep breaths and completely relax, release and sink into the floor. Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Begin to deepen your breathing. Bring your attention back to your body and onto the mat. You might like to start to move your feet, your hands. Perhaps give yourself a stretch. Bend your knees. Roll to one side. And if you wish, just pause for a moment. And make your way back up to sitting. Bring your hands together, close your eyes, turn in one last time to honour ourselves, each other and the practice. We close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Om. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice, and see you on the mat.